everybody, and welcome to the first season of our podcast, The Communication Connection. Our names are Quentin Hout
and Lucas Whitenack, and today our podcast contains 5 episodes covering the good, the bad, and the misleading aspects of social media. Each episode covers a different topic, including the positive effects, negative effects, dating on social media, the effects on business, and the effects on journalism and our democracy today.
All right, so as we will with the rest of our episodes, we're going to start off this podcast with some interesting facts about our topics. So what is social media? Well, they are web-based applications or websites that are interactive and allow people to make personal profiles and post information for the whole world to see. They can be utilized on many different devices such as computers and phones, and they help to develop social networks. These social media sites began in the early 2000s, with MySpace in 2003, Facebook in 2004, and Twitter in 2006. Originally, these were only on computers and laptops, but as smartphones became a thing, they ended up on those too. And then in the 2010s, Instagram and Snapchat became a thing.
As always, we will be conducting 2 of these episodes on social media ourselves, along with the rest of our fantastic crew, Jenna Mullins, Sophie Cheek, and Olivia Humphrey, who's going to kick off our season with the first episode on the positive effects of social media.
Hi, welcome to the first episode of our podcast. My name is Olivia Humphrey, and I will be talking about the benefits of social media. Many people, mostly older generations, have a tendency to view social media in a very negative way. But social media doesn't always have to be such a terrible thing. The first article I found was Social Networking Pro-Con. Throughout this article, I found that people use social media to keep up with others' lives. Facebook is one of the most popular types of social media used to do this. This app allows people to upload numerous photos and videos for others to view and share. As I have a family that I don't necessarily get to see that often, it is nice to be able to view their photos and see some of what they experience in their daily lives. Another positive of social media is how it helps with schoolwork. Things have changed over the years in almost all schools. Many schools have changed their textbooks to all online. In college, all of the homework I have ever had to do has had to be submitted online on a website called Canvas. Canvas is an online site that allows teachers to upload everything you need for classes. They can upload the lectures if you miss class. They can send out announcements if they have something important, such as a class being canceled. And homework and quizzes are mostly posted on Canvas. Another thing Canvas allows people to do is to communicate teacher to student. It is a quick and easy way to message your teacher if you have any questions or if they need to contact you about something. It also allows students to access resources for schools at all levels. Social media is also beneficial because it helps spread news in a more efficient way than any other form of media. Years ago, people had to wait for the newspaper and news reports on the TV or radio to get the latest news. Today, newsfeed on social media pages and push notifications sent directly to your smartphone keep people up to date on what's going on around them. If something huge or important happens in the world, most of the time millions and millions of people see it on social media within seconds or minutes and then can spread it just as quick. One really good feature the iPhone has is the Amber Alert. This is an alert system that if something in your county or even state thinks is extremely important, they will send an extremely loud alert at any time of the day to warn everyone about what's going on. Most of the time, it is either a severe weather warning or a missing people alert. Many parents see social media as detrimental to their children, but it usually does them some good to have social media accounts. Teens, just like adults, want to be just as aware and informed about different things. Having social media accounts allows teens to follow organizations and causes that they believe in. It makes them feel like they are a part of something and are able to make their voices heard even when they feel like an outcast in society. Social media is one of the best ways to reach the mind of young people to make a difference. Law enforcement also uses social media to help catch and prosecute criminals. 73% of law enforcement professionals surveyed think that social media helps solve crimes more quickly. A survey by the International Association of Chiefs of Police found that 85% of police departments use social media to solve crimes. The New York Police Department was one of the first forces to add a Twitter tracking unit and use social networking to arrest criminals who have bragged of their crimes.
Hi, welcome to the second episode of our podcast. My name is Sophie Cheek, and I'll be talking about online dating. Today, around 40 million Americans use online dating websites. In 2013, 10% of young adults were involved in online dating. And now, 6 years later, that percentage has raised to 27% of young adults using online dating. As this statistic shows, social media and online connections are being used more and more. And as technology and social media continues to advance, that percentage will just continue to increase. For this episode, I will be interviewing Lori Cheek. She's the creator of the online dating app Cheeked, and she's reliable because this is what she does for a living in New York City. She's dedicated her life to improving online dating. So, Lori, what made you want to create this app?
I had a light bulb idea years ago about how to take the online dating, to take the online out of online dating and try to get people to connect in the real world. So I have this app that works via Bluetooth and connects people when they walk into a bar or a gym or a cafe or any place like that. You'll get an alert that someone is in the room with you right then, and you have a chance to strike up a conversation.
And what do you think makes your app different from other apps?
I think that technology is really sort of ruining the way that people meet in this day and age because everything is so virtual and everyone's looking down at their phones depending on this connection via our smartphones. Well, what I'm trying to do is to give people an opportunity to start the conversation face to face before starting a virtual conversation that often leads to nothing in the real world.
How do you advertise your dating app?
I have a lot of budget for advertising, but I go around and do speaking gigs a lot. We get a lot of press around the app and around my entrepreneurial journey. We do social media. We're on every platform there is. And what else? Go on shows like Shark Tank, and every time that show re-airs, we get downloads from all over the world. So that's how we're getting the word out about the app.
And then last question, do you think people who use online dating have a higher success rate than people who don't?
That people that try both ways have more of a chance. So I think not solely depending on meeting people in person or meeting people on an app. I mean, I just think it takes, finding a date is like finding a job. So you can't really just expect something to walk up to you. And I think it's a lot of work to find someone that you actually want to go out with. And I think the nice thing about these apps is that you would meet people that you would never necessarily meet in person. You know, I sort of have my own success story with that guy in Kentucky. If I hadn't been on that app, I never would have met this guy.
So as Lori said, there are both positive and negative effects to online dating. The positive side of it is that it allows you to meet and connect with people that you wouldn't connect with if it weren't for the app. The negative side of it is that a lot of online dating sites revolve around online communication, which causes people to spend more time on their phone versus growing relationships in person. And that's Lori's goal. She's trying to use her online dating site to connect people more in the real world instead of the online world. Thank you for joining me and learning more about online dating sites. Stay tuned for the next episode about negative effects of social media.
Hi, this is Jenna Mullins, and in this episode 3 of the podcast, I'm going to be discussing some of the negatives of social media. Social media grows larger and larger by day. Nearly almost everyone has some form of social media they use. With the platform becoming larger itself, it is also becoming a larger part of our lives. Just how negatively is this impacting us, though? I reached out to a local therapist to give me some insight on these questions. In your opinion, how has social media changed just in the past year?
I think social media has changed because it has not only just become a social outlet, but a lifestyle for some people. Social media has grown from just sharing photos with friends to how some people actually make a living.
Okay. What are some negative outcomes of social media being such a staple in everyday life?
Some negative outcomes are that, it almost acts as a pacifier to users. We have become so reliant on social media to almost be kind of like a support blanket. In times of stress, often instead of tackling the situation, we pull out our phone. It's definitely become a distraction in that sense too. Our era we are living in is so digital, which makes it hard to unplug, even when it is healthiest.
Diving deeper, I wanted to see if there was anything we could do about social media becoming such a negative. I wanted to ask, how do we turn this negative platform into something a bit better? Is there any steps we could personally take that makes social media not have such a toxic reputation?
With social media becoming such a staple, it is going to be hard to outgrow it. It is just going to continue getting bigger and bigger. I would say for yourself personally, know when to unplug. Social media can often become a rabbit hole. You continue to fall deeper and deeper, but if you set personal goals, you can keep yourself not to fall into some of the negatives it offers.
Before I finished my interview, I asked Dr. Robles if he too was affected by any of the negatives of social media, or if he had any form of social media platform. Social media had any negative effects on you personally?
Like I've said previously, we all fall into the habits of procrastination, and social media just helps us, or me, do that. It is important that we set limits though, so we can accomplish goals that.
Okay, and then lastly, although social media is such a great tool and you're able to connect with so many friends and people and get to share your life on the internet, it is important to know the consequences with that. In this interview, the key outcome was that social media is a distraction and a negative one. I think about this personally, and half the time, I'm scrambling last minute or can't fully focus because I'm on my phone scrolling through Instagram. Social media can also distract us from our own personal problems. I think about this for me personally too. If something is bugging me, I will scroll through my phone on all my social platforms in order to take a break from thinking about it. This is not healthy. Setting boundaries is a key takeaway from this interview. It is important to learn when to put the phone away and take a break, and it'll truly only better you.
Hello, I'm Quentin Hout, and welcome to another episode of The Communication Connection. On this episode, we'll be talking about social media and the effect it has on businesses. Over the last decade or so, we've seen many companies such as Walmart and Dick's Sporting Goods cash in on online sales. However, revenue is not the only way that a company can benefit from using the internet. Entrepreneurs, Dell Computers, and Powwow Now, a conference call company, have all seen benefits that social media plays for them. Since joining the social media scene in 2009, Dell has grossed a following of over 3.5 million users on sites such as Twitter, Facebook, and Direct to Dell, a social media network that they created themselves. This allows them to hear customer satisfaction, negative comments, and overall feedback on products. Richard Benhammer, Dell's senior manager for corporate affairs, has raved about how social media has helped their company. It creates an alert system that allows them to notice a problem very fast and fix it, whether it be technical or logistical. Since joining social media, they have seen negative commentaries drop about 30%, and they are allowed to work with their customers more directly. With social media, Dell is able to recognize problems within their own company faster and solve them more efficiently. Also, they can see what problems customers are having with their devices, as well as receive feedback on newly released products such as the Dell Mini. On this product, the apostrophe key was next to the enter key, which caused people to hit the apostrophe instead of hitting return. People were disgruntled about this and made their presence known on social media. With their complaints on social media, Dell was able to fix this problem and move the apostrophe back to its rightful place in the second version of the Dell Mini. Dell's social media presence has only helped them, as since being on social media, they have grossed about $6.5 million annually from it. Even though their net revenue is about $12.3 billion annually, this shows that Dell is not only committed to making sales, but investing in customers for a long amount of time. Like Dell, Powwow Now, a conference call provider, has seen the positive effects social media has caused for its business. Powwow Now utilizes Twitter as its main source of social media. They have divided themselves into 3 separate Twitter accounts to tackle 3 different areas of interest. Powwow Now _green tackles environmental issues, while at Powwow Now BizFish tackles business efficiency, and at _Powwow Now deals with customer concerns and satisfaction. Although this conference call provider has not seen the millions of dollars in revenue increase from using social media, Powwow Now has seen customer satisfaction grow, which was their main source and reason for joining social media. Last but not least, we have seen entrepreneurs try to grow their companies through social media. Today, more than 2 million businesses try to advertise and show off their products through Facebook advertising. This allows entrepreneurs to reach a more widespread audience for a cheaper cost and boosts business and allow easier access to products and advertisements. Even though this episode is drawn to a close, I would like to say that social media is something much greater than connecting with your old friends to share cat videos, but it's something that allows everybody and everybody's business to grow and connect with each other. I would like to thank you for listening, and have a nice day.
Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Communication Connection podcast, where I'll be talking about news, social media, and our democracy today. Through my research, I found 3 different sources that talk about different aspects on how social media affects news and democracy today. The first source we'll be taking a look at today is an article titled "The Impact of Social Media on the English Language Writing Abilities of Undergraduates in Ekpoma, Nigeria." In Nigeria, social media has influenced the writing abilities of these undergraduates in a variety of different ways. One specific example the article talks about is using the letter U in papers in place of the correct English spelling Y-O-U. This is important because it can show how we are influencing other countries and how our social media presence can affect others halfway across the globe. The second source I'll be taking a look at today is a scholarly article titled "Social Media and the Reaffirmation of the Role of Journalism, a cursory discussion of the potential for widening the public sphere in a post-colonial society," talks about the current state of news being reported on social media and why we need to understand that the way we are receiving news is not getting worse, but rather changing. And if we don't change the way we absorb and understand news, and that there is bias on social media, it can create a problem of people believing they are getting news when in fact they are receiving a reporter's opinion based on that reporter's agenda and what they are trying to convey to their audience. The last and most important source that I will be talking about today is a TED Talk on social media and how it is threatening our democracy today. News and social media have gone from reporting on important issues for the everyday American to what crazy story will get a viewer's attention so they will subscribe to the content on that social media platform. The introduction of social media and the need for a 24-hour content cycle is a plague to modern democracy. Not only do we get biased information through social media with an agenda in mind, but we are also getting attention-grabbing stories that may not even be true. The overall distrust in media and news reporting is dangerous to democracy because it prevents Americans from staying up to date on important world events and letting them come to their own conclusions. Instead, we are in a current state where people can regurgitate the opinion of something they saw or heard on social media. The last and most important part of the TED Talk was the definition of news and content and why it is crucial to be able to distinguish between the two on social media. The definition of news on social media is noteworthy information reported free of bias, and the definition of content on social media is words anyone can write. In today's society, it is so important to be able to distinguish between these two because social media is filled with a variety of content and news. Overall, social media can be a great device for people to get news and information, but can also be a dangerous place filled with bias and profit-driven idealism, where reporters don't need to pay attention to what they're reporting on, rather how many likes and comments their posts will receive. The important skill of being able to distinguish between content and news is one that we must uphold and take into account when looking to social media to get our newest information about current events and what is happening in the world today. Hey guys, welcome back to our final episode of the Communication Connection podcast, where we will be talking about the previous 5 episodes that made up our season.
We're here with Olivia Humphrey.
As a group, we came to the conclusion that overall social media has very positive effects, but also has some major drawbacks.
Some of the drawbacks include wasting too much time on social media, which can kind of prevent you from achieving true things in life.
While another drawback can be making sure you're looking at unbiased information when trying to get news and other information online.
But overall, we concluded that social media is good because it helps you to connect with friends from across the globe and in your community, helps with school, and businesses grow as well. Also, last but certainly not least, social media has a big aspect on dating, and Cheeked kind of revolutionized the game.
Because Cheeked allows you to connect in person instead of just staying on your phone and looking at someone's profile.
So therefore, this form of social media actually makes us social instead of just staring at a blank screen all day.
Catch the next season of the Communication Connection podcast, where we will be covering
The fierce world of goose polling.